You're not always going to get the good groups. In fact, most of your experience will be the opposite, especially if you're pugging. And it's not always going to be because people are bad, but because there's a disconnection. There's a disconnection in just standard communication. There's a disconnection in synergy. You don't have this synergy because these aren't people that you normally play with. These aren't your guildies, and these aren't your average group of friends that you're used to. And this disconnection can change everything about how you have to heal. You don't have the luxury of expecting the expected. If anything, you need to be preparing for the opposite. Because if your ability to heal depends on everything going right, you're gonna fall apart the moment that everything starts to go to shit. So here's what this episode's about. This episode is gonna be about how you can play around groups that leave a lot to be desired. This episode will teach you how to recognize key moments when things start going wrong before they get out of control. And more importantly, what you can actually do in these moments to stay ahead of it. Good healers react well when bad things happen. Great ones expected it the whole time. So let's talk about your expectations in uncontrolled groups. A lot of healers go into runs not expecting things to go wrong. They're hoping everything lines up. They're hoping the tank knows the route. They're hoping that DPS know what to focus. Everyone uses defensives when they should, and people handle mechanics properly. And on paper, all sounds pretty reasonable. Except, you're probably in a pug environment. This is the Wild West. Anything can and will happen. The standard practices you're used to might not even exist here. That consistency just isn't there. If anything, it's extremely inconsistent. So when you expect everything to go right in an environment where they usually don't, you end up constantly getting caught off guard and unprepared. And that's where it can all start to slip away from you. So how do we recognize when we're in one of these groups? Well, people are going to be dropping earlier than they should be. Or they're taking damage before anything even really starts. One of those, okay, maybe it's just a mistake. But then it happens again. The tank doesn't use pre-mitigation. DPS start popping off before the tank has aggro. Your tank is darting ahead while you are still dealing with the previous pack. This is already very big indicators that you're in for a fucking rough ride. And instead of reacting smoothly, you're constantly trying to play catch up. Because you're trying to play the run how it should play out on paper. You're playing with expectations, and that just isn't the winning strategy in pugs. You're fixing problems after they've already started, instead of staying ahead of them, before they even become a problem in the first place. So instead, let's come up with solutions. Once you realize you're in one of those groups, you need to change how you play. You stop expecting things to go right. You stop committing to a clean plan that depends on everything lining up perfectly. And you start asking yourself, where's the risk? If this cast goes off, if this ability overlaps, if somebody doesn't press something, who dies? And that's who you play around. You use CC to try to reduce damage, use small cooldowns earlier than expected. You're not waiting for things to go wrong. You're expecting them to. So give yourself room to adjust. Because in these groups, you're not playing for perfect execution. You're playing to stay ahead of the mistakes. You don't play for when things go right. You play in a way that lets you handle it when they don't. We've talked about a few things that can happen when other people make mistakes. Now let's talk about what happens when you make them. Okay, Tank. Okay, buddy. Don't flame. Don't flame. Don't flame. Don't flame. No flame. Flaming is bad. People are learning. It's okay. We'll be mid-pull. Things start going wrong. And instead of staying in control, you start drifting. Your focus shifts, and you stop thinking ahead. You're not fully in the pull anymore. And once that happens, everything will start to slip. Sometimes, people will start typing, you start explaining, trying to prove a point, arguing about what just happened, and while you're doing that, your attention isn't on the group anymore, and that's when someone dies. Not because the situation wasn't healable, but because you pulled your focus away from where it needed to be. And that's just one example. It can show up in a lot of different ways. Maybe you got stuck tunneling one player, and you lost track of the rest of the group. Maybe you fixated on one mistake, and you let that pull your attention away from thinking ahead. Maybe you hesitated. Maybe you don't commit anything because everything feels chaotic. Or you panic and start pressing everything at once with no real plan. And that's where things can fall apart. Not just because things are going wrong, but because you stopped being in control. So solution? You bring it back. Mid-pull is not the time to start explaining anything. It's not the time to argue. It's not the time to be right. It's the time to keep the group alive. So when something goes wrong, you stay in it. You keep healing, keep thinking ahead, what's coming next. You stay focused on the task at hand. Don't get pulled out of the moment. That can wait. If someone dies, you do not fixate on it in the moment. There are still 4 other people alive, and you need to focus on them. You can figure out what happened later. You can look at logs, details, whatever you need. But right now, stay on task. And when things start getting out of control, you simplify. You stop trying to fix everything, and you ask, who dies first if I do nothing? The goal here isn't to fix everything instantly, it's to buy time. Slow it down, then recover. You're not playing perfectly in these moments, you're surviving them. You don't need to win arguments, you need to keep people alive. And this brings us back to emotional control and responsibility. In messy groups, it's really easy to start blaming everything around you. Bad pulls, missed interrupts, people taking avoidable damage, and you start thinking, this isn't my fault. Look, maybe it isn't, but that's not the point. You are the anchor for the group, and if you drift, everything's gonna fall apart without you. You can catch yourself in these moments quite easily. You'll find that you're frustrated, you'll find that you're blaming, you'll find that you're focused on what everybody else is doing wrong, instead of what you need to be doing next. And once your mindset shifts like that, your gameplay usually follows. So instead, bring it back to control. Not control of the group, control of yourself. Where is my attention right now? Am I focused on healing, or am I focused on everything going wrong? Bring it back to the next decision. Who needs me right now? Keep healing, keep thinking ahead, and stay in the moment. Don't chase blame. You stay responsible for your role in it. You are the anchor for the group, and if you drift, everything falls apart without you. So, If you take anything away from this, it should be this. You're not playing in perfect conditions. So stop expecting perfect conditions. Recognize when things aren't lining up and the group isn't looking too good, and adjust early. When things start getting out of control, don't try to fix everything. Figure out what kills someone first and solve that problem. Stay safe, then recover. And most importantly, don't lose control of yourself. Don't drift, don't fixate, don't get pulled out of the moment. Because at the end of the day, you can't control the group. You can only control how you respond to it. This isn't about playing perfectly. You're not always going to get clean groups, and things are going to go wrong. What matters is whether you stay in control when they do. You are the anchor for the group. You don't need to fix everything instantly. You just need to stay focused on your role. And if you can do that consistently, you'll handle bad groups better than most players ever will. You can't control the group, but you can control the healer you'll become. Once again, this is Og, and I'll see you guys in the next class.